Andor is the only Star Wars show that somehow either eluded fans' notice or failed to interest them outright. And I think the reasons for this are a little bit more complex than we realize. Most of us assume that Andor didn't do as well as it might have because fans were just burnt out on Disney Star Wars, on Star Wars in general. But I think there's more to it. While maybe that is one thing that's contributing, it's definitely not the only factor. In the old days, it seemed like everything that Disney bought or purchased turned to gold. Going as far back as 2006 with the purchase of Pixar, which has become synonymous with the Disney brand. Everything seemed to be kind of going great up until recently. But something happened along the way with the company that led to where we are now. With movies like Lightyear and Strange World being direct casualties of this change, and properties like Andor being hit in the crossfire. The key factor in this case is, I believe, effort. The effort throughout the years has diminished as technologies have gotten better and as creative talent has become more scarce. Disney has gotten lazy, finding a few tried and true methods of entertainment that audiences enjoy, then simply copy and pasting them into every project. These days, Pixar focuses on emotional payoff over substance. Marvel is nothing but quippy jokes and CGI smackdowns. Even Star Wars keeps its costs low nowadays by using the volume, which is efficient and it is effective, but I think it minimizes creative staging and on-location authenticity. Andor strays from these patterns. Its dialogue is intelligent and believable. The characters are taken seriously because the actors who portray them are serious in their performance.
I sort of created a version of the backstory for myself because I wanted to know who this man was before he became incarcerated.
It is important to understand why a rebellion, it's built, and why that articulation happens is because you have to understand what life was like in times of oppression, in those dark times where the Empire had complete control.
Many of the locations are real, many of the sets are very practical. It was a surprise to many of us that there were so many enjoyable, solid, well-written aspects of this show. And I believe many of the positive aspects of the show can be attributed to the show's creator, Tony Gilroy, who is also one of the writers on the show.
Our overriding mandate for everything is to make it real. I mean, that's the absolutely real wherever we go. Disney and Lucasfilm they kept saying they wanted to do something really ambitious and really different. And, we kept challenging them, and there's a lot of foreplay that goes in before you're actually fully committed on both sides. So we just kept pushing and pushing. Oh, we want the production designer from Chernobyl, and we want to do that first scene, and we want to do this. And they just kept stepping up and saying yes, and we kept doing our job. And I'm doing the same thing I've been doing all the way my whole life. I didn't change my game to do the show. I tried to find a way to fit into the show what I always do.
Yes, you go from the big moments of action and adventure, explosions, the big scope that Star Wars brings always. But then you go very deep into the intimacy of a character, and you realize what is that life with no freedom, and you understand why someone would be willing to do what they do. And I love that Tony goes let's do a very realistic show of what that life looks like.
He was a writer for Rogue One, which kind of helps keep the atmosphere of the two properties cohesive. Everything is, while different, still manages to feel connected. Gilroy has been a writer and producer on a number of other films in the past, including Nightcrawler and most of the Bourne movies. This is a direct contradiction to the way Disney's been doing things in recent years. The caliber of directors and creators on current projects has definitely been lacking. But not just creatively, but in experience. We're seeing many of the directors have very few previous credits to their name, which isn't something you can say about Tony Gilroy. He has quite a few writing, producing, and several directing credits to his name. And while having a good creator and good directors makes a show well made, ultimately it's up to us, the audience, to give these things meaning. Unfortunately, we've kind of inadvertently misguided the creators by saying things like, well, the CG was bad, but, you know, the writing was good, and I'll kind of give it a pass for that. Or, well, the writing was really great, but the dialogue wasn't so good, or, you know, the humor was there, but all the characters kind of felt two-dimensional. We highlight these different things in movies and shows, and instead of ending up with movies and TV that have all the best elements of the things that we praise, we end up with entertainment that is a combination of all the worst aspects. As shows came and went, we just got more apathetic. It wasn't just the disservice to legacy characters like Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. Disney somehow managed to take the fun parts of the story and make them mundane. So when a prequel show comes out starring a side protagonist who was in a movie that was itself a prequel, it's no wonder that many fans thought to themselves, yeah, maybe I'll skip this one, or in fact, never heard about it at all. But I think there's something special about Andor. It has something that the previous projects didn't have, and it manages to convey a little bit of the old Star Wars magic to its audience. The creators of Andor put in the effort, and that's really what shines through all throughout the show, is the effort, it's the care, it's the details that the creators put in. And in order to make Star Wars viable again, they have to do this with each project. Creators, directors, writers, actors who care about these IPs and want to make them great for the audience and for themselves. Star Wars may never be what it once was because of the way Disney handled it, and Andor might just be an unfortunate casualty of that. But it puts care and energy into telling a story that is worthwhile and fun. And if we can get more like this out of Star Wars in the future, there might be a new hope for this franchise. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what your thoughts on Andor was, what your thoughts on Star Wars in general are, and we'll see you in the next video.